Welcome to the Smite Oceanic League. This is week number 4, day number 1, set number 2 between Direwolves and Synapse Gaming. My name is Nightfall, and joining me for this set will be Rankonius. How you doing, Rank?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It's good to finally not be sick after having a horrible week. We had to cancel the podcast this week because there was a few of us sick. So
a bit unfortunate. It's pretty fortunate for us to be casting this game, Direwolves vs Synapse. We're gonna head straight into pick and bans right away. Let's go for that. So, what do you expect of these pick and bans from previous knowledge of these teams?
from previous knowledge, I mean, we've got to keep an eye open for some odd picks. We've got Kiki Omira that's now played. He's played Zeus, so obviously, if they're in the right spot and things are going well for them tonight, they're going to go ahead and pick something a little bit funky. And the reason for this isn't specifically for their own drafting or that they've come up with a specific comp necessarily. It could also be mind gaming opponents for future weeks, because remember, they've got their games against Avant-Garde, they've got to play against the Chiefs and whatnot as well, so they've got a bunch of games coming up that they need to prepared for, and these earlier weeks are just about setting up for those games for these guys. So the Zeus pick, that's what it could potentially be about. It could also not it could also not throw the opposition off. It could backfire, and they'll be planned for Direwolves as regular comps.
Yeah, you don't want to pull out your best cards right off the bat, especially when you're up against Avant-Garde and the Chiefs in the later weeks. So let's go through these bans right away. So we've got Bologna banned away from the Direwolves. Of course, you don't want to fight that Bologna. She is scary in your face all the time. Eagles Rally super strong as well. Al Kwang as well taken away. His OP is pretty strong right now. He's that first pick. He's that first and that you need to get rid of as if you can't play him. Bastet and Giannis. Giannis is super strong. He's got that mobility. He's got the damage. And Bastet, that early game mobility and damage is very strong as well. So interesting bans coming through. They're all pretty much standard though.
I think the bans coming through from Synapse, particularly the fact that they've gone for Giannis and they've also gone for Bastet on their ban list, is saying, hey, we don't want you guys getting around the map and roaming on us too heavily. Because look at Kiki, he's starting to really feel at home and feel a lot more comfortable in that mid lane. Giannis being able to roam around, you know, it's, hey, you have to come up with something. You have to be able to find those rotations. We're not just going to give them to you for free. And El Chuckles has got one of the highest kill participations. There's a list of stats here that El Chuckles has been a high of. Second highest amount of total kills in the Pro League at 44. Second highest GPM in the Pro League at 558. And third highest kill participation. He is everything his team have wanted. We know that we're talking about Maxon all the time, that's setting the standard from junglers, but he's also been lifting it up there, taking Bastet and the Giannis combo away from both him and Kiki. Says, all right, you guys, we're out. You know, you've got to go back to something. You've got to find something different.
We're going to have to see what Direwolves do to counter that. Athena first pick here, that most likely will be in the jungle to El Chuckles. He loves that Athena. When he plays Athena, he goes ham, cheese, and crackers all over the enemy team. Gib and Fenrir in response. Interesting. Fenrir, he's come back in the meta and he's S tier. I put that in quotes because it's kind of interesting to see, and just we need to see more of him, I guess. Sylvanas as well picked up and a Neath for Direwolves. So Gib and Fenrir, what do you think of that?
I think the Fenrir is straight out there just as the right... Fenrir's out here right now, okay? We're expecting you to think about picking Ratatoska, now you can't. If you even opt for Ratatoska, we've got your counter already on the table. Ratatoska, though, obviously receiving nerfs, so probably not going to be seeing any of that. Interesting with this next sort of round of picks that's going to be sort of focused on, is it's a high-pressure lane coming from the Direwolves. They're locked in the Sylvanas and the Neath. They're going to be pushing really hard, and it's going to be down to the guys from Synapse who will lock in Apollo. Be interested to see that in the duo lane. They might opt for something funky here.
Yeah, I played Neath earlier today, and I just realized how strong her wave clear is when you get Transcendence first. It's actually pretty silly. You just use that spirit arrow, and then the Unravel, and that whole wave is immediately gone. Apollo locked in here for... Who's the AD carry for this week? Church. It is Church, yeah.
Yeah, it is
and
Church,
that will be Russian Panda in the mid lane, as we mentioned in the analysis. So, interesting. Apollo versus Neath Sylvanas. The sustain?
sustain and everything is on the side of the Direwolves here. They're going to have a lot of trouble on the left-hand side of the map coming from the side of Synapse. They've got Gab. Gab's not known for wave clear. They've got Apollo. Apollo's not known for wave clear. He's not even known for being able to sustain through. Like, this is going to be a really, really rough lane. And this Fenrir might actually have to head to the right-hand side of the map to get them a jungle that might have some pressure on that left-hand lane.
Although Apollo with the Toll and the Devourer's Gloves tier 1 can sustain early, but against a Sylvanas Neath, I highly, highly doubt that it will be as effective as it normally is. So third ban's coming through. It's going to be Isis and Ra, taken away from the mid lane. Interesting.
Interesting to note that the Ra ban actually came through. Alpwash is actually still on the board, and I really like the Alpwash into the Ra. But this is actually a target ban. Kiki, I believe, has been playing an absolute ton of Ra at the moment. He's really been looking to play utility-based gods, and it's interesting to see that they've banned away the Ra from that sort of side of things. Of course, Zeus was left on the table. Whether we'll see that locked in or not, that's something that we might discuss at another time. But Isis banned away as well. This is, for me, I haven't really seen Kiki playing a bunch of Isis, but it's about the pressure, right? They've already got Neath and they've already got Sylvanas on the board. El Chuckles is going to be on Athena. It's basically saying, right, well, we've got this god here that's just like, she could be crushing onto us early, and that'll be a real problem. Let's just wipe her off the board.
So, last picks coming through, Poseidon and Hunbats for the Direwolves. There's a lot of wombo coming through. They've got the Sylvanas, Blink, Wrath of Terra, and if that doesn't land, I know Richie Castle, you're gonna land it. I'm just saying. Then Al Chuckles can initiate as well with that, with the dash in, the taunt, and then into Poseidon Kraken with Hunbats in there as well. And then on the backside is the DPS coming through from Neath. They've got initiation everywhere with that World Weaver as well, and the Athena, and the Sylvanas, and the Hunbats. The amount of initiation and damage coming through from the Direwolves composition is absolutely insane right now.
But also look at what's in the opposite corner as well. They've got the Gab, or actually the final lock-in coming through from Synapse will actually be Hercules here. But they've got Gab and they've got Apollo. And they've got Agni. If they do survive to mid and later stages of the game, it significantly swings in favor of Synapse. They've got to survive that early game. And looking just purely at the stats, like the stats alone says that Direwolves will not let them get there.
But we'll have to see how the teams use these compositions against each other early, mid, and late game. We are going to have a minor break while we jump straight into game number 1 of Direwolves vs Synapse. Guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome to this Direwolves vs Synapse match. We are right here in the game, and everyone is loaded up rank. Based on those team compositions that we saw in the pick and ban stage, who do you feel will have this early game advantage?
That's not even a question. That's not even a matter of even talking about it. But the early game advantage is significantly in the Direwolves' favor. Significantly. There's no competition on who actually does have the early game. As we are actually going to head across and jump into game. As you can see, things are already underway. Right, let's talk mid to late game. What's it going to be about? It's going to be about where Funky lands. Funky is an aggressive jungler. We know that. We know that from what we've seen from him previously. He's on Fenrir. He's got potential to make plays. He's got a Elucidator in that solo lane, and he's into a solo lane Hunbats.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see. Hunbats versus Hercules. The wave clear from Hunbats, not very strong early, but once he hits like level 5 to level like 7, he's does very well. It's, I don't know. Solo is very difficult for me.
So the problem that any solo lane assassin runs into is that they're high mana cost, and they've got no sustain. None of the assassins have any sustain, right? The only one that has potential sustain is now Kwang, and that's due to his itemization path because of the Bancroft's talent. That's where Yada's going to struggle. If he can survive, get damage online, Elucidator's just going to get tanky. And look at the starting itemization from him as well. It's a steel mail.
It is. That's going to be very difficult for Yada to take him down. I say difficult. He's literally not going to take him down unless Chuckles arrives. So very interesting start coming through from the Direwolves. They started at mid. Their duo lane started at mid camps, and then they did the standard back camp start with the mid laner, as well as the jungle solo taking speed buff, and then the mid laners don't take red.
Yeah, so they're starting on towards the right-hand side of the map. Synapse did start... Did they start? No, it was Direwolves that started the left-hand side mid-camp, sorry. Yep. Synapse started... I really would have preferred them to look to start that level 1 up towards the mid-camp, then do the back-camp, or just the mid-camp straight to lane, or speed buff straight to lane, clear that first wave, then go back into the jungle and grab the camp, because you know you're not going to win that lane. So stay out of that lane as long as you possibly can. Would have been an interesting start to see from them, but there's a very good reason for that. You're just not going to outshot that lane.
Look at the aggression coming through from the Direwolves. They're going to take away that red away from Mushroom Panda, who is down to 50% HP. He was taken very, very low down to those minions, as that was El Chuckles, but in the mid lane. But Fonke was still over there in the solo lane, pressuring Yada, but nothing really came of it. So advantage Direwolves early game, like we said.
Yeah, well, something else, like, Fonke does not need to be in a lane with Elucidator, right? Yada's not a problem for Elucidator to deal with, right? He's a Hercules, he'll deal with it, once he gets a few levels online, he'll be totally fine. Yada doesn't have enough damage to be able to kill him over here. So it's interesting to see that they did that. That's a little bit of a misplay, and it has led to, obviously the knowledge of Fonke being on the right-hand side of the map means that the speed buff was, the damage camp's taken away, but it's also because of the lane that they presented as well. But now there's going to be a gank on that left-hand side.
Yeah, looks like here's Fonke. He's jumped in, he's stunned up, just laning. He's got that Brutalize going down, and he's got a lot of damage, but Direwolf still turning that damage around in a 2v3 situation. And
Laney hasn't even backflipped yet.
Yeah.
He didn't even backflip out of that. He just stayed. Like, he could have waited for the Brutalize to wear off and then backflip, but he saved them out. He knew that he was totally fine. The minion wave, in their favor. This is the shove that a Sylvanas can get on. Starting to see some grouping towards the mid lane. Chuckles gets a nice taunt. Down comes the Kraken. Kiki's got a double! Baby! Don't take your eyes off that mid lane, because that is what's going to happen all the time. Kiki Omir and Chuckles have been doing so much duo Q practice. It is insane.
That was a lot of damage, short amount of time. Kraken, please. Kiki already showing up on the Poseidon. We normally see him on an Agni with that dash, but now with that power, he knows how to use it. And he's got, with great power comes great responsibility, and Kiki has been very responsible.
Kiki being responsible? Nah, he's gonna use and abuse that power in absolutely any way he can. They're set up for it now, Direwolves. What can they do with it? They've got a lot of rotational potential. Look towards the duo lane, because they've got kill potential. They can look towards the Gold Fury as well. Whirlpool does a lot of early damage, and they've got Sustain and Sylvanas. They've actually got a lot of pressure over the early game Gold Furies.
And something that I find really interesting is the fact that Laney went for the Death's Toll Devourer's gloves instead of the Transcendence, which you would normally see on Neath. Even though he had the sustain from the Sylvanas and the Unravel. So, jump in from Fonke onto Kiki Omio. There's the World Weaver and the Defender Olympus, but just Laney picks it up with there's the Wrath of Terror. 4 versus 1. Richard Castle secures the kill. World Weaver did come over, and the Defender of Olympus as well was there. But 4-0 for Direwolves on top of Synapse here 4 minutes into the game. This is very aggressive coming through from the Direwolves. And
they're going to steal away a mana buff as well. Yada's going to be hugely advantaged. They waited for the exact time, and they knew that Elucidator was in the base. He's off to get his mystical mail, and they just invaded. You know, right, we can make this pressure. Synapse, what were they doing there? Fonke.
He was a bit over-aggressive there against a team with 2 Guardians and the peel from Hunbats as well.
Overzealous, I think, is probably a better term in this case. Just overzealous. They want to get into this game. Synapse, they're trying to show that they're ready for it. They're trying to show that they're stepping up, but their time is not now. Fonke is the only god on this team comp that has any early pressure. They've just got to sit back, farm up. All they need to do is ward up and make sure they don't lose any buffs. If they invade and contest in their jungle before anyone is dead, and whilst the health bars are relatively even, that is Synapse's go mark. Prior to that, don't think about contesting.
Yeah, because as we've just seen, Direwolves, they take one thing, they're going to take everything else. And as soon as you give them a little bit of breathing room, they're just going to absolutely explode out. Like we saw Kiki in the mid lane, and then over there in those mid camps as well.
Be interesting to see where our first sort of rotationary pressure. Look at this on the left-hand side again. This is a go pressure. Look where Fonke is. Look where the mid lane is. Russian Panda is still clearing creeps in that mid lane. They're looking to fight this one. The Kraken has been called, and Theodore is in so much trouble. He's incredibly low, but he is the Guardian. And now the CC change starting to come in. Kiki's going to be the focus. He needs one more in hand to kill off Theodore. Not quite able to fight it. The Kraken has not been called down. Now it is called down, and Fonke will be the first kill. Just needed to secure that one up, and so lucky not to find any more of the Direwolves, but so lucky from Synapse's side as well to make sure that they get out as they were.
And like you mentioned, Kiki only needed one more attack to secure that kill onto Theodore, but unfortunately he was not able to, and that was 2 kills got away from Direwolves, and now they've got this Gold Fury actually. And that is just their early game lead extended even more. And even though, like you mentioned, the early game is where they're going to be strong, and Synapse just have to hold on to the mid to late game, it looks like the Direwolves are taking the power away from Synapse as early as possible so that they can't come online late, and then Direwolves will just walk on them. In the mid lane, there's a taunt going down, the Whirlpool and the Gib Shield coming through from Theodore. Nice stun from Russian Panda. Will stun up the rest of Direwolves, and Fonke uses that Brutalize. Didn't really want to go in on that one.
Well, I mean, he did. He needed to put some sort of damage down. He needed to put pressure. Look at Yada with the rotate. He's trying to pick up these mid-camps. Successfully done so. Pluck not going to land for Elucidator. Interesting to see where he goes with this one. Great 2-man stun, but now he's forced to get out of here. They can't really do anything. Synapse have got no follow-up on such a great pick. That was their key. That was their call to go, and they couldn't follow it up.
And, it's interesting to see Russian Panda playing. Like you mentioned before, in that fight around the red buff, he was still doing minions while... Oh, wow, look at that, over there in the duo lane.
Just gets Spirit Arrow to the face, and now Just Lane is going to secure away the attack speed buff as well with the Spirit Arrow. Gets the kill, gets the speed buff with one ability. Well done. And now he's got the backflip. He's out. There's nothing he can do.
Laney making plays. Defender of Olympus coming through. Here's Fonke as well with the Fenrir. He jumps in. He's got the stun. There's the Ragnarok away from just Laney. Taunt onto Russian Panda. Kraken does go down. Chuckle secures a kill onto Russian Panda. And the jump away from Fonke. World Weaver will be blocked by Church, but will he go down? No. Maybe. He's still committing, but no. that is, again,
This
a
might be
trade in
first
favor
tower,
of
though.
Direwolves. Blink in by Richie Castle. Wrath of Terror. Gib Shield will save Church. No!
Oh!
The grab, so close. And Church on roughly about 30% HP. Not 30%,
Why not the
30
Wisps?
flat.
If he knew, if the Wisp were, I think
don't
the
think it
Wisp
was
must have been on cooldown. Because if they were off cooldown, that was a kill. That was certainly a kill.
Oh, no, it was used. It's on cooldown now.
Yeah, it was used immediately after as they were backing away from the tier 2.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
That's really curious
Oh,
to see.
solo
Anyway.
lane. What is Yada doing? He's taking out Elucidator. What? So, we said Yada wouldn't be able to kill Elucidator, but look how close
Mana
that
buff.
was.
Mana buff. That's all down to Elucidator being forced to use his mana to clear the wave. He has no more. Yada got that mana buff. He's been able to constantly poke. He's got the Sacred Monkey out now on the mana buff, but he's forced to run away with that Somersault. Looking to see if they can get in here, though. Chuckles is on the backside. Won't get body blocked out of this one. And Richard Castle with the snare secures the Direwolves on the retreat. They will live. They will get out. And finally, Elucidator gets a mana buff.
First of this game, I'm pretty sure, was it?
No, second. That's
No?
actually second. He's still got his
Okay.
first one.
Okay. So taking a look at the graphs, it's 8k XP for the Direwolves and 5k gold for the Direwolves as well. So interesting early game. It was expected.
Yeah, I mean, we expected it, right? And take a look at the items that they're actually
Oh, jump in the
selling.
mid lane. There's the Ragnarok from Fog. Will he land it? No, he won't be able to bite him. Gets down to 50% HP, and now Kiki wants to fight. Here is Richard as well. Woodweaver coming through. It's going to be blocked by Russian Panda. Immediately gives shielded away. And will the taunt come through? There's the Blink Wrath of Terror Beast away from Russian Panda. There's the Cataclysm as well. And it looks like Theodore, he did get taunted in. And Chuckles will secure that kill. Theodore, unfortunately, does go down there. And Church forced to ult as he tried to go a little bit aggressive onto El Chuckles. Mid camps being secured by Direwolves as well. And 8-0, although it was expected, I mean, they still haven't died at all. 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah, again, it's down to those item spikes. Right-hand side of the map, Transcendence online for Yada. There's no... Oh my god, Elucidator
Speaking
torn
of
it up
Yada.
and beaten to a pulp by the duo of El Chuckles and Yada. And he had a mana buff that time, but it's a 2v1, and it's the fact that he's not going to do any damage to Yada. Any damage to Chuckles. He will be able to damage Yada, but Yada's just too big at this point. He's got to Transcendence another taunt. They're going to kill off Russian Panda. Well, out of here, son. You better
Yep.
get the heck out of here, because that's what's going to happen if you don't.
A little bit too close with on cooldown. That was unfortunate, but nice timing of nice tracking of the timing of the beads from the Direwolves there. Chuckles knew that they were on cooldown, and just dash in, taunt, pretty standard kill there. But this early game for the Direwolves, they're just extending it even further, and they're not letting Synapse do anything.
And check out what they just did to the power buff as well. That damage count, it just got dropped by both Apollo and Geb, because, you know, he's not getting anyone. Russian Panda needs a red buff. He needs that so desperately, but he's not getting it, right? So they had to go and drop it for him. He doesn't get any XP out of that. That's risky. They're losing things, and the Gold Fury instantly respawns, and Direwolves are all over it. They've got the advantage. They've got Neath. They've got Sylvanas. Yeah, lifesteal's been affected on that Gold Fury, but not so healing.
And Synapse only come in, kill them off it, but Direwolves, they can initiate. As long as Richard's got his blink up, he can go aggressive whenever he wants, or Chuckles can go as well. As we see him charge up, go aggressive on Russian Panda, zone him out, and this is a free Gold Fury for the Direwolves. Again, unfortunately for Synapse, that will be an extended lead for the Direwolves.
They have, because of the hog changes, there's just no way they can contest that. Yeah, Russian Panda will get online as there's actually going to be a Ragnarok mid lane. It's onto Richard Castle though. He's incredibly tanky. Rather Terror just comes down and he does not care. Look at the damage they drop on Foggy and the snipe comes through. Richard Castle actually get it with a tick. And now who else can they find? It's going to be Theodore for one, and Russian Panda's surely about to follow. They missed the grab. One more in here and won't quite do it for the Direwolves. They will manage to disengage now and take the tower. 2 more kills. It's 12-0 Nightfall. When will they die?
It's a kill a minute right now. A kill a minute and they still haven't died. I think it's down to Synapse not collaborating well. Like, we saw that gank early game in the left lane onto just Laney and Richie Castle, 3v2, and Synapse didn't get anything from it.
So what you're saying is they're actually working on a new collab project, and we're actually going to see some rapping from Synapse next week.
Yes, that was exactly where I was going with that.
Anyway, attack on towards the speed buff. It's going to be defended by Synapse. They might find a kill. They do get a block on towards Yada, but in comes Chuckles to defend his solo laner, and he's going to do it successfully. There's nothing they can do. And Sylvanas is here now. They get the at least Synapse, but they're forced to disengage.
And Dial's aggressing in the enemy jungle, or blink in from El Chuckles. Nice taunt. Honke does get taunted in. There was a Fiona Evil down, but it didn't go on cooldown there. Oh, there it is now, and Theodore does go down. And now Russian Panda and Yada, oh, they're fighting it out. Will Russian Panda go down to the tick damage though? No, he's on like 1 HP. Fonke as well gets away. Nice grab by Richard Castle onto Elucidator. He does get pulled in and taunted in now, but that's the Direwolves only getting 1 kill. And Synapse, they better consider themselves extremely lucky there as they get away on such low HP after a fight in their own jungle.
Wow, such
that was
luck.
Deep.
That was just insane, Nightfall, to see how many of them walk away. Take a look at the itemization, though. Have a look at El Chuckles. He's picked up a Ward Stone going in for the Void Stone. You're going to have no resistances. Richard Castle's base damages, El Chuckles' base damages, and Kiki Omio are going to be absolutely shredding. There's no way they can fight. Speaking of fighting, down goes the Whirlpool and shreds one alone. No other penetration online or in the area. And it's going to be Kiki Omio finding another one left-hand side. They're looking for the engage. They get onto Forky. Look at Laney. In hands coming through. He'll look for the snipe. He's charging. He's charging, but body blocking. Body blocks. Rank. Too many bodies in the way to secure that kill.
Look at the level difference between Kiki and Russian Panda.
Oh!
7 levels at 14 minutes. What? Oh, there's a pluck onto Kiki and Chuckles. Oh, they're going aggressive under tier 2 tower, but nothing happening. But 7 levels! How?
Because Russian Panda is 0-5-0. Maybe a sub, but he's still their coach. He should know. He's trying. He's really trying. You can see that he's trying, and you see that he wants to be a part of things. But he's 0-5-0, and he can't get XP on the red buff, he can't get XP on the back camps, he's constantly... There's no way that he can get the shove out of mid lane. Look at the ultimates coming through.
Laney still gets a double kill, what? That was a pull by Fonke onto Just Laney, and Just Laney still got a double kill onto Elucidate on Fonke there. This sieging all the while is Yada in the solo lane.
Oh, left-hand side, Chuckles gets the taunt, and that's going to be another kill. Castle gets one as well, and now they're going to look for the church. Well, castles and churches, you know they don't mix when you see a combo like that.
Oh, wow, that was actually pretty clever. The Richard and the church. So, 2 tier 2 towers now. This is 18-0, 16 minutes into the game, with a 20k XP lead and a 14k gold lead for the Direwolves. While you said late game is in favor of Synapse, I don't think it's going to get there at all.
Their late game is basically where Direwolves are now, is when Synapse's late game will start to kick in. Look at the engage on the right side. Forky's low, still gonna live. Not quite so much longer as El Chuckles has a giggle about that one and walks away from it. Looking for more though. Elucidator wants a piece of this one. They're still looking for stuns. Not gonna find a preemptive strike. Chuckles is out. He's gone. There's no way they can chase him that far. And now look at Castle to roam in. He makes sure that his team is the castle and they'll defend it with every point of health they've got.
They're going to hold down the fort, and still first has not been drawn for Synapse. 19-0. It's really, really rough here for Synapse, and it looks like there's going to be no way back into this game. I mean, unless Direwolves screw up big time, doesn't look like Synapse will be able to draw this one back. But I was going to say that we've seen bigger throws, but we actually haven't. But no. Gold Fury now being secured.
Possible.
It is
super possible. But Direwolves have to hard throw, you'd have to say on the Titan, with only one Phoenix down. If there's 2 Phoenixes down, even that, wow, it's just too much. Looking at the engage in mid lane as Kiki Omio is looking for a Whirlpool combo, won't quite be able to find it, forced to back out, but look at the left-hand lane, Laney, he's looking for a stun, doesn't quite get the snare, the beads will burn for that one, so he's forced to back up. There's nothing he can do at this point in time. Running a heck out of there, and the rest of the team, they're still pressuring mid lane. Yada's just roaming the map, doing whatever the heck he wants. He runs from the enemy mana buff all the way back to his own.
Oh, there's a Ragnarok down onto Richie, so it's gonna pull him under the tower. There's the Wrath of Tyr, gonna knock the tier 2 tower. There is just Laney securing that kill off the backside onto onto Fonke it was, and now they're gonna siege down this last tier 2 tower, and that was just beautiful initiation from the Direwolves. Actually, no, that was initiated by Fonke.
Yeah, it was counter initiation.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they grabbed the Sylvanas. How are you going to kill a Sylvanas? The Wisps are healing for too much. They find a talent on a Church, and Church just, well, I'm not sure that he was ever actually there. And it's a 24-0 game to Direwolves right now. Take a look at the graph. Their XP difference is higher than their kill count. Their gold difference is just about on 20k.
This is a massive lead.
Surrender this. Like in this position, I do give the advice to surrender. Why? Keep your morale. Don't lose morale any further. Definitely.
And this is the Fire Giant taken by the Direwolves. It's just standard textbook win team fights and then take all the objectives, but they've peeled off of it and they're trying to fight. There's a Torn onto Lucidating and Theodore. There's a lot of damage coming through from the Direwolves. Here's Fonke jumping in. There's Rain Fires coming through, but who's going to go down? Yada's extremely low. Will that be first blood? No, it won't. He's still alive. Fonke does go down to just Laney, and that's him and Elucidated down 2-0 for the side of Direwolves.
Look at Laney's level compared to Panda!
Oh, wow, that World Weaver did so much damage. Russian Panda, he's only level 11 against level 20's Yada. He's still alive, still hasn't gone down. Just Laney secures that kill, and El Chuckles is going aggressive onto Theodore. He's trying to get away, but this is all the Direwolves going aggressive.
And Laney's just like, you know what? I'll solo the Fire Giant in the background. You guys do what you want, I don't care.
Yeah, and that will be a secure onto that one. Yada picks that kill up. The Fire Giant will now be taken by the Direwolves.
Direwolves, well, they're not trying to win anymore, they're just having fun. This is socialization at its max. Oh look, we could take the Fire Giant and we could kill you another 5 times. I think we'll take the kills, thanks guys.
I'm sorry, what was that?
They've got the choice, they've got the option going for the Fire Giant. Laney just sits on the Fire Giant and he's just like, okay, I'll just keep it pulled. You guys will be back in a minute. Yeah, we'll be back in a minute. We're just gonna go kill this rock over here, this sandcastle.
When you put it that way.
What's Richard Castle's best skin to play with? It's definitely Sandcastle Geb.
But he's so good at the Sylvanas.
Yeah, but it's Sandcastle Geb. It's castle on castle.
Oh.
I mean, if you want to go all Game of Thrones on this, you could say it's Castilli Rock.
Please. So, Direwolves 28-0, 20 minutes into the game. That's a lot of kills a minute. That's when you put it like that, the 8-0, 20 minutes into the game. It sounds pretty absurd.
But it's happening on the wrong side of a Fear No Evil, and I don't think he fears no evil in the amount of times he's died thus far this game. He's still looking to try and get away as Fonke pops the Ragnarok to try and dodge out of the taunt. There's no taunting coming, and well, he's just left being a big golden wolf. They're Direwolves, son. They're not big golden wolves like yourself.
And still, First Blood has not drawn. Direwolves have still not.
Do they bleed? Do they even bleed, the Direwolves?
The only way they're gonna die is under Phoenix or Titan. Or speaking of Phoenix, they're gonna dive it under the Phoenix, and Elucidator takes so much damage from the enhance from Laney. He does secure that kill there, and there is the Cataclysm. Yada does get a lot of damage down onto him, but Theodore does go down to Kikyo Mio with that Trident damage. Most damaging ability in the game. Yada secures the kill onto Russian Panda under the Phoenix. All of this under the Phoenix, they're just tanking it up because they are so strong. 2 Phoenixes down, now they're sieging this Titan, and it looks like that's gonna be game. Church, that
Chuckles is that far ahead. He's built not only a Void Stone, but he's also finished off a Spirit of the Mages. As 4K is just gonna finally tick out. They get the Deer side. They finally kill off the Titan. I don't think there's much to say about that game other than Synapse just went with a very passive draft.
They went for the late game, like we mentioned, never got there, and 34-0. Think about that for a second. That's pretty massive. Like, think about all the KD stats that just increased for all of the Direwolves. That was huge, and that was
But most
The
importantly,
participation coming through from Chucks, he was everywhere he needed to be all the time.
did he get the highest participation that he's really after? He's still chasing down Maxim with his kill participation stat. 6 0 20 out of 28, or 85. So what? You're looking at 8.5. So you're looking at 17 out of 20 kills. He's got there. He's got there. Just gets there and maintains, even lifts slightly on that kill participation mark. Some other scores coming through from that game for you. Just Laney at 10-0-10. Hunbat's Yada, 5-0-12. We thought he might die. We thought he might struggle in that solo lane. Didn't do anywhere near that. And astonishingly, I definitely thought that Kiki Omi will get a lot more kills than 9. He does round out 9-0-19, a member of... you said 34. I was thinking 28. I stuffed up on that stat a few seconds ago. 28 out of 34 kill participation. So he was right up there and all over the map. And look at the damage he did.
Yeah, and Yada showed up as well. Like, mentioned that it would be difficult for him to take down Elucidator, but he took Elucidator down to about 5% HP by himself, and then as soon as El Chuckles came along, secured that kill. So every single lane and the jungler, everyone on the side of Direwolves just played flawlessly right there. And that's not an exaggeration. They did play flawlessly because they didn't die or lose an objective
At all. They never lost an objective.
Yeah.
They didn't lose a tower. They didn't lose a Gold Fury. And of course, they took the only Fire Giant of the game. That was down to their draft as well. Look at what they had. They had a comp rounded out about early pressure. Look at what they did on the left-hand side of the map. They were like, right, red buff is going to be ours. We're picking their first red buff. Why? What comp have they got? Russian Panda's not going to be online to defend it. 4K is the only one with enough aggression. They've got a Geb. They've got an Apollo. They're going to have to deal with minions. Poseidon, the big counter to Agni in the mid lane because he just outshoves him so hard. What have they got on the left-hand side of the map? 2 shove lanes. What have their opponents got on the left-hand side of the map? Not really all that much. Let's invade. Let's get rid of that first damage buff. And just Russian Panda was never in the game from that point on. He was losing so much gold, roaming around trying to find something, but realizing he couldn't get in, so he'd lose XP from the minions down the tower in the mid lane. There was no entry into the game for him, and they've got to improve that for the next game from Synapse.
But we'll have to see how both teams play in the next game. We'll see if Synapse can tie up this best of 2 series in game number 2, guys. We will be right back after a short break with game number 2 between Direwolves and Synapse Gaming.